Him and I work so well together.
Hey, this is going to be short and sweet, really, but this is really an honor. When Cindy called me and told me about Paul here, you know, I sprung into action. I called the 36 Combat Engineers. Unfortunately, I caught them a day too late. They just cased their colors because they're headed to Liberia for an extended vacation to help fight the Ebola. So, but Cindy told me you were looking for your patches, and we have them right here. In fact, you have 3 patches now. Mine are better looking.
Always about the colonel.
Mine are better looking. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to let Paul explain what this is all about. 36 Combat Engineers. How did they get the seahorse? Oh, I get the seahorse. Because they came from the water. They look like seahorses coming in. And if anybody doesn't know, you know, Paul with the 36 Engineers hit Anzio Beach. And we all know what happened in Anzio. If you don't, there's a great little book out here. I put a little folder together for them just so we can have some memories of it and relive that. I actually found the individual that is in charge of the 36th Engineer Brigade website. He's served with him. They probably sucked a lot of the same nasty coffee back then and K rations. Sea rats back then. Something through C, K, MREs, you name it. But John Fallon is the individual that's doing that. There's another young lady that I talked to as well. But this whole website has the history of the 36 Combat Engineers, and they're still in existence today. Even through an old letter here that they've posted on their website from one of the individuals that talks about the rugged, as they'd always be referred to. There's a book out on Anzio, and if you actually read the book on Anzio itself, you'll see a lot of what the 36 Combat Engineers did. They didn't have an easy task. None of the guys did, and that's why it's an honor for me to look into it, because this was, even though we're all current, we've been in Iraq War, the Afghanistan War, what these gentlemen went through back then, they were ill-prepared, their clothing, put it in military terms, sucked. Okay, so they went through a lot. Right here I've got the campaign map that shows where they did hit, the 36 Engineers throughout their time. And I actually put a couple of the logs that are in here, and it's kind of interesting to read through the time frame that Paul was part of it, as well as going into Anzio as what they were talking about.
Paul, look this way a moment.
Look that way. One of the things that is new, the military started doing this after the Iraq War kicked off and all that, and we went to the new uniform. Those of you that know the Army, I'm not in the greens anymore. We've gone to the blues, and they have a combat badge. And so Cindy was vigilant, I guess, and saw this, because I didn't even think about getting the combat badge. So he can put this on his shirt, his hat, wherever he wants to, but this shows that as a soldier, this is what we're wearing nowadays if we've been in combat. It goes on the right-hand side. So, but what's more important, I think, to Paul, and I'm going to have to put my glasses on this one because, you know, time's catching up on me, as it catches up on everybody. This is the Superior Unit Award that not every unit gets. This is not just a hand-me-out. You go through a rigorous board, and they look at what you've done, whether it's during war or peace, and they look at what you've accomplished. And I'd like to read the citation on what was written for the 36th Combat Engineer. By the direction of the Secretary of the Army, the 36th Engineer Combat Regiment is officially commended for exceptional, meritorious, and distinguished service in support of American and Allied armed forces in the North African, Mediterranean, and European theaters of operation during the period November 1942 to May 1945. Throughout this period of rigorous combat duty, the 36th Engineer Combat Regiment demonstrated exemplary combat engineer efficiency and outstanding performance. Whether making assault landings in North Africa, Sicily, Sicily, Salerno, Anzio, or southern France, completing extremely difficult engineered tasks while under enemy fire, or temporarily fighting as infantry when the situation demanded. Gallantry, versatility, and determination were the hallmarks of the regiment. The superior accomplishment and exceptional performance of the brave soldiers of the 36th Engineer Combat Regiment were in keeping with the finest tradition of military service and reflect the highest credit upon themselves, their unit, the United States Army Corps of Engineers, and the United States of America. Given under my hand in the city of Washington this 12th day, January 1989, the Adjutant General. So with that, Paul, I'd like to go ahead and present you with that, as well as this right here, which is very well earned and deserving at this time.
I appreciate it very much.
And before I close, I found this, and I thought this was kind of interesting too. It's called Anzio, and it's written by Walter Miller. This was actually written 10 April 1944. Golden sands and water blue, verdure marshes bright with dew, sheep and shepherd in the dell, stiffened cattle failed by shell. Distance mountain, white with snow, this I saw at Anzio. Ruins old and modern homes, sulfur springs and catacombs, silver cows with silver tails, diving plains with vapor trails. Nazi captives in a row, this I saw at Anzio. Air armadas massed in flight, tracers winging throughout the night. Crosses white in fields of green, screeching shells from guns unseen. Flaming ships with skies aglow, this I saw at Anzio. Towns engulfed in smoky haze, cruisers with their guns ablaze. Burned out tanks with blackened hull, cannon roar without a lull. Men who fought and killed their foe, this I saw at Anzio. So that'll be put in your book as well. And the floor is yours, young man. At 90, I appreciate everything that you've done because it made my life a lot easier. And I actually use World War II veterans that are still around, and Vietnam veterans, Korean, and all those others to come and talk to my young folks because they need to understand how they got to where they're at. And it's the history of what you gave for your country and what you gave for us that keeps us alive and keeps us Americans.
Thank you.
So the floor is yours.
I just want to thank everybody for showing up here and presenting me with this the citations, etc., in your presence. I appreciate that. I'm very, very honored, and I feel very proud that I was a part of the 36th Engineers. When I went into it, I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know anything about the outfit. But after being in it for a while, I thank God for being there, for being that lucky to be chosen to be a 36th Engineer. And again, I'd like to say that it was an honor, and I appreciate it for being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Put it all back in your book, and you're good.